Hey there, audio slash gamer friends. MrAyrit here, and what I wanted to do is make a video about upgrading from a PS5 to a PS5 Pro. I've been kind of itching to get a PS5 Pro for a while now, and I always like to have like the best, and it's an itch that I needed to scratch. But one thing that I was really concerned about was I like to buy games on disc because it's just a little more economical to buy games that way usually, and I have kind of a catalog of games that I wanted to be able to use. And of course, the PS5 Pro doesn't come with a disc drive, which I think is stupid of Sony to do it that way. I mean, the Pro console not coming with a disc drive, come on, Sony, that doesn't make any sense at all. But here's the thing: is after doing some research and thinking like, man, I don't want to spend $80 on a disc drive. It occurred to me that I probably could just take the disc drive off my original PS5 and put it on the PS5 Pro, because I assume that they've made them to do it that way, because if you buy a disc drive, there isn't like a Pro disc drive and a Slim disc drive. You just buy the one. And the panels, the way they have the panels set up on the newer models of the PlayStation 5s, it looks like it's kind of a modular system. So I did do a quick Google search to see if it probably would work, but I found a lot of the information kind of just like inconclusive, and there wasn't really a lot out there. So I just thought I would try it for myself. It seemed like it should work, so I thought I'd just dive in and give it a shot. And I thought worst case scenario, I just have to bite the bullet and buy a new drive for the PS5 Pro. But luckily, spoiler alert here, you can swap the drive, right? You can swap. Oh my gosh, I got all sorts of notifications coming off. You can swap these drives. And so it's really a dead simple process. It takes like 5 minutes. All you're going to need is just like a little screwdriver kit, like a tech screwdriver kit, which I'll link that below. And, a little bit of time, and you can easily upgrade your PS5 here. It takes no time at all. So let me show you what that process looked like, and then I will come back at the end of the video, and I'll give you kind of some final thoughts and tips about doing this upgrade process.
Okay, so I've got my PS5 Slim with the disc and my new PS5 Pro. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if I can just take off this disc and faceplate and put it on the PS5 Pro, and then take the PS5 Pro's plate and put it on this one, essentially just turning it into a slim digital. And then essentially I get to retain my disc drive when I upgrade to the Pro, which I would assume a lot of people want to do. So we're going to see how this works. So first off, I'll just get these side by side. I mean, I would assume that why they did it this way is that this bottom part is interchangeable. That's what would make sense to me. So if we just pop this guy up. Of course, I removed the disc that was in there. Okay, that was super easy to pop up. And then, oh wow, that just lifts out like that. Nothing to that. Okay, pop this guy up. Alright, it looks exactly the same. Essentially, let's see if this bottom plate will snap right onto this. Oh, there we go. Okay, well that seemed like that worked. So, I think, yeah, that looks like exactly just like a PS5 Slim digital. No noticeable differences there. We'll take the drive. And we will hook it in up front here. Okay. Slots right in, little click. Hook it in the back. Goes over. Oh, I might have missed a little hook there. Boom. And I would say that looks like it's done and is going to work just fine. Okay, now the next question I have, while I've got this open, is the hard drive here. Does it still have an open hard drive slot in the Pro? Because it's 2 terabytes. Let's check. Okay, so we'll just unscrew this. I'll lift this up if I can get my finger underneath there. And it does have an open slot, so you can still upgrade the hard drive in the PS5 Pro, which I figured, but I wanted to double check, so it's good to know. All right, it's that simple. Let's see if it works. Okay, so I made the executive decision that I'm just going to go ahead and take my external drive from my old PS5 and put it in my new one. I wasn't thinking I probably needed it, but at the same time, it's one of those things that, like, I bought it for like $50, so, you know, why, it just seems like I might as well keep it. So this is a very simple process if you haven't done this. You just need like a little screwdriver kit, you know, just one of these little tech screwdriver kits. I'll link one down below. But it's very simple. It's just 2 screws essentially. So you pop out kind of the top plate screw there. And that plate will come out, and then you can see you've got your external drive. Then there's this other screw, and this also holds a spacer that you want to have under your SSD. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a second when I get this out of here. So when you take this out, this little guy, it's like a spacer and a screw. So you want to put the spacer in where you need it, and then you put your SSD in, and then you put the screw in to hold it down. So I'll put that back where it goes in the original spot, but you can see it kind of pops up there. Boom. We'll take that off. I'll link to this little drive. It was the cheapest one I found that people said worked well, and that it didn't require, you know, an additional heat sink and stuff. It seems like whatever's on this one is adequate, and I haven't used it a lot, but I haven't had any problems with it yet either. So we will go ahead and we will now come over to this guy. We'll put the spacer where it needs to go. Okay, which I believe for me, well, you can check by just setting it in there, kind of looking. So it's right there. So notice I'm dropping the spacer in. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slot my SSD in and then push it down. Oh, my spacer fell out. Put my spacer down, and then I'm going to insert that screw and screw it in. Okay, and now that guy's in. So then I can just go ahead and I'll put my little plate back on and put that screw back in. Put the cover on, and then boom, now I have an extra terabyte of storage. So I got 3, which should be plenty, I would imagine. Just gotta snap your cover back on. That one's good to go. We'll go ahead and put the spacer back in the original spot on this one, and then this baby will be ready to sell after I clear the data off of it, which I might as well go ahead and add that to the video too on how to do that, since I'm doing this all, huh? That's done. It's in. Bada bing, bada boom. PlayStation ready to sell. Well, ready to clear off the data and then sell. Okay, so I'm starting up the Pro for the first time with the drive. Kill these lights. Disk drive is connected to your PS5. To use your disk drive, register it. Now use your disk drive. So it seems like that all worked just like it should. Okay, now the final test is, can we fire up Elden Ring, which I have on disc. I think we're golden. And here we are. Beautiful. Okay. That was dead simple, and that took maybe 5 minutes, if that. Would have taken less if I wasn't trying to record it. So, terrific. Now, I'll have to fire up the other PS5 and see what it says. Plus, I need to clear that anyway. So, we'll check that out here in a moment. Okay, we'll see what happens when we turn this one on, since I removed the hard drive and I removed the disk drive. We'll see if it says anything about it. Nope, it honestly doesn't really say anything about it. Okay, so how do we get to the point here where we can delete everything off of this? I assume we go into settings here, probably system, reset options, reset your console. All users and data will be deleted. Reset. If you reset data, are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Okay. That's all there is to it. I'm not sure how long this will take, but I'll document it and I'll let you know. Oh, it goes fast. Yeah, I didn't even have to pause the video or anything. That took like 10 seconds. And there we go. Brand new. Oh wait, maybe it's doing it now. I don't know if this is the opening scene or... Oh, no. There we go. Good to go.
Okay, so all that worked, and worked flawlessly and was very simple to do. None of it was an issue. The last thing you need to know about this upgrade process is about transferring data from your original PS5 to the PS5 Pro. Now, there is a built-in system for this that Sony has where you can transfer kind of over your network data from one PS5 to another PS5, but I would not recommend you do this at all. I attempted this from my original PS5, which had a pretty full hard drive, 700 to 800 gigs of data, games and media and things on there. And I let that thing try to transfer for probably like 19 hours, and it only got 40% done in that time frame. So it took an extremely long amount of time. I was trying to do it over Wi-Fi. Both of the PS5s were hooked up to my Wi-Fi network, which is like, it's decent. You know, it's not Wi-Fi 6, but it's like it's decent. Whatever. It's an Arrow system. It was fine. But yeah, it just was so slow. So I would not recommend you do that. What I found to be much better, like I canceled it in the middle of trying to do it, and there weren't any issues that popped up with that either. So that wasn't a big deal. But I did cancel it in the middle, and all I did was I made sure that all my cloud saves were there, and then I just re-downloaded all my games on my new PS5 Pro, and that went so much faster. And as long as you have like the cloud saves or whatever, like it doesn't really matter. So I didn't have any like data I was too concerned about keeping, as long as my game saves were there, and they were. So that wasn't an issue at all. I definitely wouldn't try to do like the transfer thing unless maybe you've got like a wired, like all your systems are wired up and things like that, and then maybe it would go quickly. But I just found it to be much easier to just re-download the games on the new console, as long as that's a viable option for you. That wasn't a big deal at all. So that was just the other note that I wanted to give you about PS5 to PS5 Pro upgrade. But yeah, it's a relatively painless process. And again, you know, the physical, moving the disk drive, moving your, you know, expansion SSD and stuff like that, all that can be done in like 10-15 minutes, and doesn't require like really any, you know, electronic skill of any sort. So I wouldn't hesitate to do that if you're looking to upgrade to a PS5 Pro. And, you know, why not? If you look on the used market, I realized PS5 Pro, if you buy it new, is like $700. I bought mine for $300 though. Like, so and then I sold my old PS5 for I think $250 or $260. So I upgraded to a Pro for like $50 with the disc drive and everything, and I, you know, I have zero regrets about that at this point in time. And now I know that I've got the best PlayStation console that I'm gonna get, probably until the new generation comes out, which is probably gonna be. I mean, I guess I've heard rumors that maybe it'll be in 2026, but I kind of doubt that. I imagine it's probably going to be closer to 2030. And even then, who knows how big of a leap it'll be over the PS5 Pro. So it'll be interesting to see, but for now, I'm happy with the PS5 Pro. I am going to experiment a little bit with a new monitor too, so I might make a video on that if people are interested in like going from a 4K 60 hertz TV to a 2K budget 2K like 165 hertz monitor, to see, you know, if that seems like it makes any difference to me, because I know some games you have to have a TV or a monitor that has like 120 hertz available for the PS5 Pro to be able to do all of its stuff and to have access to like all the modes for some of the games and things like that. So I've been gaming on a TV for, you know, a couple of years now. It's been a while since I've done a monitor, but we'll go back to it and we'll try it and we'll see if I think it's better or worse or just different. So, you know, like, subscribe if you're interested in that. Thanks for watching. Feel free to drop any questions down below if you got them. Other than that, hopefully I'll see you in the next one.